Hey there, my name's Niandra. Welcome to Mercy Commentary VODs, where I play comp and then speak over it, discussing thoughts and misplays. This is Paris at around 4000 SR on my main account, which I haven't shown in a while. This is a match we lost 5-6, and only really because allies briefly disconnect late into the game and then everyone starts getting mad at each other. For the last few months I have been focusing on climbing ult accounts, so this is my first GM match in a while. There is some rustiness / silly misplays, and occasionally Mercy's limitations like lack of burst healing or AoE is noticeable, but overall I am happy with my performance here. I didn't feel super out of my depth, which was my biggest worry in taking such a long break. Here are my final stats, by the way, if you're interested. We start defense with Roadhog as our only tank. There were a couple of rounds like this and I definitely think we would have benefited from a shield. Without one, I want to use this prop for cover along with the stairs, and probably could have used the space behind me a bit more here.
I end against cheaters, or with cheaters.
I play in the air, and instead of moving back onto the bridge, I continue hovering until I hit the floor, which gets my beam connection broke.
On my main, but I mean that accounts in fucking depths of masters right now because I don't play it on it anymore. I don't think
Doomfist gets stuck, so I know at least Mei is in that small room. I play back using the cylinder for cover from enemy Genji and anything else right. I don't attempt to get any closer because our Doomfist needs help and that room could be cramped, so Torb ends up dying very quickly. Now that we have picks, I'm comfortable pushing forward to heal our Roadhog, but enemy Zenyatta is still in front of me. Instead of backing off, I go through the room anyway. Going around might have been slower, but overall safer, especially with Roadhog, who already has a large health pool. So that positioning could have been better, but still thinking about Torb, I mainly just tell myself it's better for one ally to die than two, you know? I have the choice between boosting Doomfist or Zenyatta and keep my blue beam on the former, even though Zen's attack has more range and enemies are likely further back fresh from spawn. Using Valkyrie as enemy wrecking balls slammed down, or as friendly Doomfist and Zenyatta both took damage were ideal moments, and here my reactions are just too slow, especially with Valkyrie's beam breakage upon activation. I sometimes get asked who to res when more than one ally is dead, and above all else I prioritise whichever is safest. If Zenyatta had longer on his respawn timer, I could potentially wait to see if this ball of enemies moved away, but the clock is ticking and Doomfist is just more viable. Ugh, they really need to fix the invalid corpse flypath bug. When I'm leaving my team to go for a res, I don't have time to be messing around with angles, I really need to be quick. My allies get walled off and I go around instead of breaking it because it'll be quicker than dealing with weapon swaps and firing. I also always thought that Mei got ult charge from people breaking her wall, which is another reason I avoid it in general, but after googling it for this VOD, apparently that's not true.
Ball, look at that.
Ball knocks me and I desperately need cover. I peek and see him coming after me. I need to move.
As long as our Mercy doesn't die, we should be fine.
Oh no!
This is a very sloppy death, and I was originally going to shrug it off, like my health is so low, I was probably dead anyway, which is probably why I was careless about the mines at the time, but you can see Hammond in the kill feed after me. Our soldier waits up for me, which I appreciate, but when I get back to point A, 3 allies are gonna die, and at first I felt guilty because I died stupidly because I made soldier wait. However, the enemy team started running 2 snipers, and what kills my allies isn't something I can out-heal, so I think this was just a case of us only running 1 tank. Instead of dying quickly to that one Hanzo, I fling myself onto point, which allows more enemies to feed off my death. On the bright side, got 10% ult charge out of it.
Objective lost. New defense point. Objective B.
Our soldier is pushed up ahead on point, and although he's a good pocket, I stay behind the shield. On a different objective, I probably would have gone with him, but Paris is just so open, and Widow uses her ult. I'm not damage boosting anyone in particular and just flicking it between people. Once again, probably should have just kept it on Zenyatta because I can see him charging his attack.
Pulling him.
They're all right.
Right behind you, Hog. Right behind you, Hog.
I use Valkyrie and turn away from Orisa here, but had reason. She was clearly taking more damage than I can out-heal, and positioning in that corner meant I had no fly paths. I'm hit with Discord, and if Winston jumped me, I could easily die in the time it takes me to move up to here. So I Valk for the speed and health regen, plus it's just a general good time.
You should run out. You can probably res me.
Goes one.
Nice.
I flied a soldier to pocket his ult and press space, which flings me into the open air above the statue. Now Guardian Angel is on cooldown with Widow looking at me. Those 2 seconds can feel like an eternity if you're just floating around exposed, so do be careful.
Also, we use way too much.
Orissa's missing like 10 HP and I intentionally ignore it for damage boost because enemy Winston is trying to escape. If there's damage hitting here, I want it boosted.
My ultimate is almost ready. Damage increase.
Hanzo left. Nice.
What's the bet Pamela is an e-girl?
I am watching my left side allies, but initially stay put. They both have self-heal abilities and are a bit too forward for my liking.
Yeah, we're a bit split up again. Good, good.
Once they get a pick, I'm confident to push up. It gets rezzed, but I'm kinda committed and they're missing some health so I keep going. Our Zenyatta follows me and enemy Winston uses ult. He knocks me slightly right, placing only Orisa in view. Instead of turning to my teammates, I just immediately get out of here.
Monkey has ult.
I fly to Orisa with my back to teammates and don't turn around until I'm at a distance. Our Zenyatta's about to die, and I do wonder if I was a bit too quick in running away. It was just by far the safest option, especially when you have the wall here blocking allies and making me cramped. Maybe I should have cancelled GA quickly and see if I could get a beam connection from the floor. Honestly though, Zenyatta probably should have just stayed back with Orisa rather than pushing up with us, and it's more his fault than mine. Our Roadhog gets bullied off to the side, and I just worry I can't out-heal this. If he dies, I'm kinda screwed here, so I just write him off. I can't out-heal Orisa either, so I abandon her too.
Left me at 1 HP.
I'm sorry, everyone's split.
Whoa, why would you res me?
And I might as well res Widow because I'm there and have no other play. What a mess, huh? I guess my biggest mistake was abandoning our Roadhog, but it really looked like he was gonna die, especially because he'd already vaped. Maybe I could have walked backwards and further left, keeping my line of sight on him as long as possible, then I'd flick my camera view towards Orisa at the last second, rather than just walking away with my back to him. Even an extra second of healing would have been beneficial to a big tank running down the clock on his own self-heal ability. I also wonder if I could have gotten away with rezzing Orisa. She died a little deep into the point, but her shield was still healthy for a good few seconds after her death. Now, I would have been focused, but maybe I could have danced between it. Super jumping on Orisa's corpse may have been useful when I panicked. May and Winston would have been able to get me easily enough, but maybe it would have bought me enough time to fly the soldier or any allies leaving spawn.
You needed a goddess?
Powered up.
Okay.
I heal Hog, then flick my beam onto Winston because he's further forward and keep it on him. Roadhog dies, and maybe I couldn't have out-healed it, but I could have flicked between them a bit more, especially when Winston backed himself against the wall, and there's half a second where he's no longer taking damage.
Damage will see when I go up. Oh wait, it's a big hook. Never mind.
Increase. Right beside
Oh, you should win that time, right? Big time.
Probably should have told my pushed up teammates earlier that I was the one capping and they had no main healer with them.
I'm on point if you.
Can you res me?
I've already. Yeah, I can actually.
I fly forward and hit the side, which pauses me for a second, meaning I miss the res. This is actually kind of a big deal because we've got picks late into the fight and can't rush point B as aggressively because Hanzo's going to get our old spawn and be far behind.
Hanzo's on the fly, be careful.
I'm okay pushing up with Soldier like this because Valkyrie is almost ready. As long as he hits a few boosted shots, I should be good to quickly reposition if needed.
I can boop them all down from there. They didn't see.
I'm here.
I can boop them all down right now. Orisa and Widow down. Widow's half in the corner. Widow's half in the corner.
Main wall,
She's one.
main wall.
I know Ball is dying, but I'd rather res him in Valkyrie than have to move on to such an open point when he's already very low.
He's weak.
You might be able to do it now. You can.
I hear May enter Ice Block and enemy Widow dies, which is mainly what I was waiting for, so I res.
I just killed their entire team.
Good shit, Hog. Nice. Immortality then Bap.
Oh, they lost.
Hanzo low on the left. I need heals a little bit. Hanzo's one in spawn.
Orisa.
Doomfist hits me into the air and I turn my camera
After May ult,
away
I
from
slam.
him.
God, cancer.
Soldier backs off and so do I. Forgetting they have May that's about to wall us off. I possibly could have taken a moment to fly to Roadhog, then press space and reposition with our Hanzo and Lucio. Super jumping on top of the wall would have been great here, because I could just heal our Wrecking Ball directly, as opposed to damage boosting our soldier so he breaks the wall quicker. When the wall goes down, I fumble with my healing and Wrecking Ball dies, so yeah, in either case I needed to be quicker with healing him.
I don't know how nothing dies with Hanzo, Soldier, Mercy, but whatever.
Even though we didn't fully cap, we did get 2 ticks, and in my opinion, everyone played fine. Players are so quick to put blame on someone when the enemy team is just playing the game. Sometimes you don't win on your first try, and that's okay, you just go again.
Shooting it. I don't know what our Hanzo's doing.
Shooting it as well, brother.
Ooh, sloppy death number 2. Can you guys just pretend you didn't see this? I think I was nervous about the openness to my right, and instead of playing from the back, I push up, and the Sonic Arrow didn't reach the corner, so I didn't see Doomfist until I was already flying. Even if I wanted to push that far, peeking from behind this slab or to the left a bit would have been better. Anyway, both teams use ults after my death, and we get a bunch of picks. It looks good, but I'm still nervous because it's 2 CP attack and the enemy has spawn advantage, while I as the main healer have such a long walk back. Once I got my beam on an ally, I play with Q held down to activate Valkyrie immediately. Multiple allies are injured, we have some picks, it's Paris point B. I fly towards this group of allies, then flick my view and keep my beam on Ball to boost his slam. It's going well until 2 allies are killed by Doomfist in like half a second. Don't think I could have helped here since it looked like burst damage, but if I was going to put my beam on one ally over the group, I probably should have faced them while doing so. Once those 2 allies died, the fight was lost and I wanted to die as well. I did have the opportunity to fly to our Roadhog in the back, but keeping him alive slightly longer would have just led to more feeding and slowing down our next push.
They break now.
We're split up, you go.
No more May actually.
I help our Hanzo and you can see our ball is forward left, and for the next 8 seconds I'm going to position my camera in a way that keeps him out of view rather than flicking it between him and my allies more frequently.
Go now. Okay,
Shield broken, shield broken.
That call out on Doomfist could not have been more delayed. I've said so many times that Mercy is a character that can do her job while looking in other directions and can relay so much important information to the team, and here I kinda let him down.
Hold on.
Not gonna lie, I was terrified here. Like, those mines are so loud and they have so much CC. I just want Valkyrie because honestly it's the only thing that makes point B bearable, especially against a comp lacking in hit scan.
Right, I can rest.
Fine. There were Rissa's dead. Mercy.
Ball one. More. No fade.
Our team is yelling about Moira having no fade, and I watch Hog struggle with Brigitte. A part of me wants to call it out, like, hey, can we get some help here? But I don't want to confuse my allies or split them up.
Their Brig isn't dying. Just the Brig.
I'm putting so much fucking damage to her and I literally can't do more into her.
We have a Hanzo, I don't know. I hooked her, she was with 1.
So our main issue in that fight was that neither enemy healer died. Like, Moira and Brigitte together on a capture point could definitely negate a lot. That was definitely a fight where Anna's utility, anti-nade in particular, may have been more effective than Mercy.
I'm gonna dragon in, can you
Hook Brig, she's in our team. Do we not kill her? Like, look at her, look at her.
2 of us are not up there, 2 of us are
Very
not
split
up
up,
there.
very split up.
I hooked a Brig.
Rewatching this VOD, my most common call out is that we're split up, so I guess we had a fairly big reoccurring issue.
Do one. Go. I bubble for you, Hog. Break one.
Beam me in.
Team's one.
Oh, good job.
Throw point. Nice. We 100% win this. We run the fucking Hog Zarya again. Just run it.
We have a minute less than them, but I've learned that time doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot in 2CP. This is a game mode where you can cap the first point quickly, then snowball the second because of ult advantage and not allowing defenders to set up for point B. On the other hand, you can have 6 minutes to attack and make no progress, especially if the enemy team gets a good flow going where they rotate ults every time attackers push in.
They aren't running Mercy, so we go.
Doomfist punch.
better than the last Doomfist call out, but still could have been a second quicker.
Nice.
Since we have plenty of allies on point, I want to position off it or on the edge. This back area with the car is good because I can use it to break line of sight and peek if needed.
Yeah, go.
I'm running Hanzo now.
You needed a doctor?
Healers are still on point, be careful.
Objective A captured.
Ball's right.
Attack on objective B.
Ball's right, so.
60 seconds.
Oh, we're split up, be careful.
You needed a goddess?
I've gone right with Soldier, be
I hear ball behind me and preemptively fly forward because it'll put me in view of this, which would give me fly paths out of there if needed.
Arista's weak on point, Arista weak.
Mercy feeding,
Mercy's
Mercy one.
I use Valkyrie even though 2 enemies are already dead to clean up the rest, which is especially fine against Wrecking Ball. Even though there's a few seconds where my Valkyrie doesn't do anything because enemies are still on their way from spawn, we destroy them as they funnel into view one by one.
Lovely, lovely.
Valkyrie lasting 15 seconds is just so goddamn good in fights like that.
Score 4,
Yeah, but well, whatever.
5, 4, 3.
You barely play the game. What's the point? Why do you care about the king?
Incoming. Defend
I don't know, some people are weird.
I mean, you could always just leave them alone.
Now, let's achieve our
One.
You needed
Close.
a goddess?
What's this by himself? I'm burning. Should be okay though.
In the space of a second, I see my allies get knocked right by Wrecking Ball. I then turn my view completely the other way towards Soldier. Thanks to Baptiste, no one dies, but my priorities there were a bit weird, and without another main healer, we could have been punished. Dumb and obvious misplay incoming.
Here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I got booped. It's fine.
That was definitely my fault. Sometimes I'll hyper-focus on one task and not take into consideration anything else that's going on. It's called tunnel vision, and you generally avoid it by staying alert and not going on autopilot.
The ball just stayed behind.
I keep moving around the middle of this room and I'm exposed to the right doorway the entire time. I could have played from the back or peeked from here if enemies were pushed up beyond the choke, and the death to Hanzo is just down to me positioning badly.
A clean bill of health. Damage amplified.
objective lost.
So we had a shield. How did the 5 of us die to a Hanzo?
I got knocked down, and then okay, that's cool. I got knocked forward a little bit by one of you, and then I fucked up shield. 4 seconds. I have another one. Careful.
You're on your own, Hans.
Han's on the far right now.
I'm okay, I'm okay.
Kill the ball. I'm gonna pull him. We don't have to worry about the point right now. Just kill these people in the
That's
left.
fine.
Okay, run.
Oh, we have to worry about the point. What do you mean? What the?
We have picks, 2 main healers, and I'm close to Valkyrie, so this is a good res opportunity, and then I'm gonna use my ult offensively.
Heroes never
I'll
die.
put Mercy off res if she tries. I don't think she will though. She's dead.
All behind you.
Why would we give up a tick if we don't have to?
We don't have to. We already got 4 points.
What my team meant here is that it is okay to give the enemy team a tick if it prevents them from capping the entire point. This is pretty common on payload maps to prevent staggering. You know, where defenders allow attackers to push up to the next corner choke while they regroup as a 6 further back.
Not bad.
See, now the
They're
tick
out.
worries me.
You're on your own, Hog.
I probably should have left Hog. I was just worried because we'd already lost Hanzo, and if the enemy team got Hog as well, they could easily win if they played super aggro afterwards.
I'm going down.
I could use some assistance.
You're fine.
Oh, Hans,
It's easy to get into the habit of using Angelic Descent whenever you're in the air, even though floating is slower than walking. Maybe I shouldn't have gone to Hog in the first place, you know, better 1 ally die than 2, or maybe I could have walked around this way rather than just floating out in the open.
Mercy's 1. Alright, never mind.
I'm coming back, advisor.
I wonder if Super Jump generally would have been useful in this last fight, simply because being on the ground sucks. Okay, they have Widow and Winston, but also Ball and Tracer, and anything that could potentially give us even the smallest amount of extra stall time is just so vital here.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, I just DC'd, sorry.
that's fine, just stall, please.
I can't move. The game's loading in for me right now.
Our Doomfist having game issues and being AFK is a real bummer here because we gain such an advantage if we run the clock down to overtime. I definitely feel we could have made it if he wasn't having issues.
Unlucky.
My game,
That's unlucky.
my game just fucking disconnected. I don't know what happened.
It's alright. We did it better than them by quite a bit, so I think we'll be fine.
Score 4.
Alright, so a different ally disconnects and my first reaction is, are you fucking serious? Then I remember placements are more about personal performance than win-loss ratio, so I just want to try my best and if I can, minimise deaths. Plus the guy might return in time. The problem is my allies seem to have gotten tilted.
For your safety, please stay close to.
Winnable.
It's
Alright,
really
winnable,
bad.
boys. They're bad, they're bad, they're bad.
Hanzo's right.
to the right, Hanzo to the right. Paul, dude, to the right of you, there's a Hanzo.
Oh, you guys really like dying to this guy, don't you?
Yeah, so I'm gonna skip this round because 1, it's a quick stomp, and 2, allies start getting nasty, accusing each other of not contributing, like we aren't a player down and already at a disadvantage. Our teammate rejoins and the match is still winnable, although at this point I just want it to be over more than anything. As for Paris as a whole, it is a map I really dislike. It's also unfortunate that 2CP, which is a lot of people's least favourite game mode, can easily end up being the longest. I don't like the first choke and find it funny because Icon World also originally only had one entrance on release and that got changed because everyone hated it and then they do it again here. The second point is so weird to me and for my last few Paris games it's honestly a complete nightmare against heavy CC comps.
Hook ball, he's low, he's low.
Could have damage boosted a bit more of that fan the hammer.
You should be at peak performance level.
While flying to Widow, I should have flicked my camera view left to watch our McCree. Instead, I just keep positioning it in ways that keep him out of view, and I don't notice he's dying while I res.
I'm body blocking if he tries to touch. He's not.
Objective A captured. Commence attack on objective.
So we have a minute to do this, with allies behind and such a long walk to point, it looks like we're only gonna have one fight here.
Healing stream engaged.
The Widow's one.
2 of us are behind. Keep that.
Ash dead.
Dude, don't worry, I know you don't have res just yet.
I do.
Gonna res Roadhog instead since it's off to the side and Soldier can get back quicker. I think a shield tank could have been really beneficial in this last fight, but we don't have one so I've gotta make do.
Killer,
Hooking
killer.
ball, hooking ball, hooking ball, hooking ball.
We go.
We're very slow to push in, almost loitering around the choke point. We get a pick, our Widow dies. Looking here, only Lucio and Roadhog are visible and it's safe to assume Soldier and McCree are somewhere on this left side out of view. I think I should have just left these two and go find our DPS instead, while keeping in mind they have Widow walls up.
I'm just stuck right.
Instead, I pushed right for whatever reason and just cannot get back.
Winston,
I walk to Widow's corpse and res, only turning around after I've pressed D. I should have checked before because my team could potentially need that 1.75 seconds of healing. To be fair, their Widow headshot like 4 of us and played really well throughout the match. This is a game where I think everyone on the team could have played better, but we still gave it a really good try. Because this video is already super long, I'm just going to start wrapping this one up here. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope to do more GM VODs in future. Feel free to check out my Patreon and have a nice day.